emotional wisdom. Who remembers me saying that in my previous videos? So I'm resuming story time. There's so much that has been happening and has happened in the past year. But before I jump right into it, I'm going to go in order. For those of you that don't know what I do for a living, I'm an emotions coach, emotional healing coach. I help people understand their emotions. I feel like building self-awareness around emotions, which emotions are everything. As I like to say, they are the meat of our life experiences. They are what gives flavor to our life experiences. They are our magnetic North Star. So for many of us who have experienced depression, anxiety, etc., it's hard, right? It's hard to be anchored or be committed or live a good life when you are struggling with your emotions, when you feel you're constantly being hijacked by your emotions, or you feel like you're at war with your emotions. I became an emotions coach, as I said, because I was in need of emotional resolution, emotional maturity, emotional awareness. So, yes, let me get right into it. First of all, check out my logo, beautiful. Comment below what you see, and then I will do another video explaining what what all of this means and what it's saying. Okay, so I've always been an individual who would seek to understand herself, deep dive, constantly ask yourself, what is love? What is our purpose? What is my purpose? How can I achieve happiness, etc.? Very spiritual, I might add. But I want to say when my mother passed away in 2010 really was a turning point for me. It really helped me realize how deep depression lived in my being, in my emotional body. It wasn't until her departure that it really bubbled up, which essentially was an opportunity for me to reinvent myself, ultimately reinvent the relationship I had with myself, because I was heading in a direction where I had a goal. And yes, part of those goals were to be of service to humanity, create a nonprofit organization. But to get there, I had to reach success, right? I had to have a certain amount of monetary gain to be able to sustain these nonprofit organizations. Well, in the interim of that, in the process of that, I began to, I want to say, lose connection with self. And so when my mom departed, it really forced me to go back within, which was exactly what I needed to become the next expression that I yearned to be. But let me tell you, the level of depression that I suffered after she passed away was the level of suicidal depression, where my psyche, my being, felt that really the only way I can gain some form of release and or relief was if I wasn't living anymore. That was a constant thought, was I don't want to be here anymore. This is not what I want to contribute in anymore. And even in that experience of realizing that once my mother passed away, that's when I really realized I was suffering deep suicidal depression. Even in that, there was so much understanding / trauma that needed to be unpacked, because when I was little, since up to that point, I identified myself being daddy's girl. So I had a deeper relationship with my father. So, and it was interesting, once my mother passed, it was like I didn't want to live, and I still had my father with us. He was still alive. And so the fact that I perceived that my life ended after her departure was an interesting realization, because I was like, why would I feel such way if I still have my father who I'm closer to, right? But again, there was deep trauma that was associated to this feeling that I was gifted to uncover. And I want to call it like that. It was an opportunity, because it really helped me understand a lot about myself and why I would choose the way that I did, why I would behave the way that I did, and in turn reparent me, right? It basically led me to the areas that I needed to reparent and redefine within myself. So it was an opportunity at the end of the day to find myself on a deeper level, on a more authentic level. Now, in 2013, I was called to move to Mexico, another huge change in my life. Once I began doing the inner work, reinventing the relationship with myself, deepening the relationship with myself, I was led to move to Mexico and be part of community service to help register a retirement home into a nonprofit organization. It was a cause that my aunt was going to benefit from in Mexico, and it was a cause that many people were going to benefit from. And so I was like, yes, I'll partake. I will do. I moved to Mexico in 2014. Was there for a year and 3 months or so. That was a beautiful experience, but also it led me to, again, drop into a state of depression. But I want to say this second round, there was another moment that I felt that I experienced depression, which was in 2007, the ends of 2006, but mainly in 2007. But I want to say where I realized suicidal level of depression was after my mother passed, and then it bubbled up again in 2000, in the tail ends of 2014 up to 2015, 16, and 17. This me uncovering